Hello, everyone, and welcome back for the final segment of today's edition of the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast. And I know this is kind of going to be one of those repetitive podcasts, but that is the beauty of being a podcaster, is that I get to represent information to you guys. We're going to focus yet again on the finals MVP updates and implications. Should some of these players win these awards, what that would mean for their careers mainly, because I think those are going to be very interesting storylines. Let's start off in the Stanley Cup Finals, where we have a lot of intriguing storylines. Obviously, McDavid still sits comfortably as the Conn Smythe favorite at plus 200, and ultimately I think he deserves to be, even though Edmonton is the underdog in the Stanley Cup Finals in terms of betting odds there. So, if McDavid wins this award, obviously, it will make him one of the superstars, one of the greats of all time in the sport. And I think that he could have another interesting case where if he loses the Stanley Cup, he could still win the Conn Smythe Trophy in a losing effort, and that could be a very interesting storyline. Not since Gagair did it many years ago did someone win the Conn Smythe Trophy in a losing effort. But ultimately, when you look at the Panthers as a team, they don't necessarily have guys who you would think are threatening to be kind of that Conn Smythe favorite. They're just very well balanced. They spread the points around. So in terms of point production, betting on a Florida Panther over an Edmonton Oiler doesn't necessarily make that much sense, because of the fact that should the Panthers win the Stanley Cup, they will have won it because of their structure and not necessarily having one dominant force like a Connor McDavid or Leon Draisaitl. So that means that I would be more confident if you would bet on an Edmonton Oiler just because of the fact that they are huge point scorers and they have this kind of superstardom surrounding them, rather than a Florida Panther who might not score as many points. So that storyline is kind of settled. If McDavid wins it, then he will be obviously one of the greats of all time. But should a Florida Panther win it, I would say that it would be Sergei Bobrovsky. That would be a huge storyline in the NHL. A goalie winning the Conn Smythe Trophy. I think that he definitely will have deserved it because of the fact he had a fantastic postseason. 12-5, 908 save percentage this postseason. Just an incredible goalie, a reliable goalie in the Stanley Cup postseason. So I think that if you do want to bet on any Panther, it should be Sergei Bobrovsky, mainly due to the fact that he doesn't necessarily have this aura about him that he is a team player. He just is a goalie who stops the shots, and he's the last line of their defense, and he's just a damn good player in that position. But if you are looking to bet on an Oiler besides Connor McDavid, I would say Evan Bouchard is a safe bet and a nice little pick there, because of the fact that he is such a dark horse kind of breakout player in terms of fantasy, in terms of real life. I'm really excited to see Evan Bouchard in his first ever Stanley Cup final. I do not think it will be his last, mainly due to the untapped potential he has. I think the sky's the limit for this kid. So if you want kind of a more dark horse pick for betting, do pick Evan Bouchard there. I really am confident in the fact that he will have an immense Stanley Cup Finals following an incredible run through the postseason. But that should just about do it in terms of the Stanley Cup odds. Let's move more into the finals, because the NBA Finals are going to definitely be very heavily scrutinized due to the fact that you have these two teams with these two superstars who have been going back and forth in terms of betting odds, and I definitely think it will remain that way as the series progresses and as betting trends get more volatile. I do believe that, as it still stands, Tatum deserves to be the Finals MVP. He is the face of the Celtics. But Doncic could be another one of those guys who, in a losing effort, could win the NBA Finals MVP trophy. It has never been done in basketball, but I do think that Luka Doncic has the best chance to do that. And if he does, I still think he will be the best player in the world, NBA Finals trophy or not. But kind of the players below those two, outside of that main tier, are kind of intriguing storylines. Obviously, you have a guy in Jaylen Brown who won the Eastern Conference Finals MVP at plus 500, who, in my opinion, has been the better postseason player than Jason Tatum overall. So, should the Celtics win the final, that would be a very interesting debate. Do you give it to kind of the face of the Celtics and Jason Tatum if he plays even decently, or do you give it to Jaylen Brown, who's had the better overall postseason in terms of helping the Celtics get to this point? So that should be an interesting storyline. Obviously, Kyrie Irving will always be in the discussion for NBA Finals MVP wherever he plays. Obviously, he did play behind LeBron, and he does play behind Luka, but Kyrie has also been a huge part of this postseason run for the Dallas Mavericks. It's not all been Luka Doncic, so look for Kyrie to be a guy who, in this series, gets more respect in terms of NBA Finals MVP voting, and I wouldn't necessarily be disappointed or mad if people choose to vote Kyrie Irving as the Finals MVP should the Dallas Mavericks win or lose. But the guy behind them all, the guy who I think could change the whole narrative of how people view this NBA Finals MVP betting race, Kristaps Porzingis. I think that Kristaps Porzingis, while he definitely will not win the NBA Finals award, will take some luster off of both Tatum's and Brown's Finals MVP case. Now, obviously, since the Celtics are the favorites to win, and they probably will be expected to win this series, the story will definitely become, is Kristaps Porzingis helping or hindering the cases for both Tatum and Brown to win more awards, because of the fact that now the Celtics offense has to incorporate a guy of KP's caliber who can get his own point production at any given time, and thus limits both Tatum and Brown in terms of their point production. I don't think necessarily that this will be a question. I think that KP will have more limited game action, and so Tatum and Brown will be kind of forced to carry that load for Boston. But it should be interesting to see how this series plays out as Kristaps Porzingis gets healthier, gets more and more involved in the series on both ends of the floor. How people will start to think, hey, if the Celtics win this series, who out of Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis was most important to the Celtics run? I think that once Porzingis comes in, the importance of points falls to the wayside because of the fact that the Boston Celtics have gotten here by being team-oriented. No one true player has had that star personality like with the Dallas Mavericks, and so should the Celtics win, I will just be very intrigued to see how the voting committee, however they decide, choose to value, say, a player of Porzingis' caliber in contrast to what Tatum and Brown have done already this postseason. I definitely don't think Kristaps Porzingis has the benefit of the doubt in terms of playoff performance because he hasn't been in the playoffs because he's been injured. Tatum and Brown will have that advantage over him. So it will just be a matter of canceling each other out between both Tatum and Brown should the Celtics win. It should be very interesting to see how that all plays out, but that will just about do it for today's edition of the GSMC Fantasy Sports Podcast. I've been Christopher Shepard. Like, follow, and subscribe to the show. It is a huge support to the network. Do everything you can. Leave a tip donation. Link at gsmc.cloud. Anything is greatly appreciated, but I really hope you guys enjoy today's show. I definitely enjoyed this show, mainly because we've been talking about tomorrow's game. Should be a good one. We don't want to miss out on that. Tomorrow's show should also be fantastic. So, thank you guys yet again for tuning in, and we'll see you guys tomorrow back and better than ever. Thank you.